Ready, Selena? All right, good morning,
Recording
everyone.
in progress.
We will call to order the May 28th, 2026 meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Chair Aquino,
Here.
Director Desmond. Here. Director Dickinson. Director Guerra. Director Hume. Director Kennedy. Here. Director Lopez Taff.
Here.
Director Maple.
I am here.
Director Pratton.
Here.
Director Robles. Director Rodriguez.
Here.
Director Sander.
Here.
Director Cerna. Director Vang. We have a quorum.
Great. If you'd all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd please read the clerk announcements, Selena.
Members of the public are encouraged to observe the meeting in real time at metro14live.saccounty.gov, participate in person via Zoom video or teleconference line, and by submitting written comments to boardclerk@airquality.org. Comments will be delivered to the Board of Directors. Public comments regarding matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors will be acknowledged by the chairperson, distributed to the Board of Directors, and included in the record. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the Local Government Affairs Channel on Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. Today's meeting replays on Saturday, May 30th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14.
Great, thank you. That takes us to our consent calendar. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Are there any public comments, Selena?
Not at this time, Chair.
I'll go ahead and second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can we just do all in favor? Are we okay with that, Kathy? Yes. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay, consent calendar is adopted. That takes us to our next item, 6.1. Public hearing, the fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed budget and fee schedule. Patty, you're up.
All right. Good morning, Chair Aquino and members of the board. My name is Patty Kepner. I'm the controller for the district, and today I'll be doing a summary of the fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget and fee schedule. This is the second of two required public hearings for our budget process. Just to recap where we're at, in April, we presented the budget for our three funds, which is our general fund, our building fund, and our restricted revenue fund. And we took a look at all those three funds, and then we also looked at the proposed fee schedule adjustment, which is 2.72%. We've complied with all of the public notification policies that our budget process requires. There have been no changes to the budget since the April meeting. So today we're recommending final board approval of the 26-27 budget and fee schedule. Here's the summary of our top-level budget. And just to orient you to the chart, the first column is our fund. Again, those are the three funds that we operate with. And then you'll see the revenues for each one, the expenditures, the resulting use of fund balance for the three funds, and then the projected fund balance at the end of fiscal year 27, which is June 30th, 2027. So we're proposing a budget with $49.6 million of revenues, $56.1 million of expenditures, which results in a use of fund balance of $6.5 million, mainly from the restricted revenue fund. And then that results in a fund balance projection of $109.6 million. We do have a reserve policy for our general fund as well as our building fund, and those balances are well above the required minimum reserve balance. So we have very healthy reserves going into the following year. That does it for the budget. Just a moment on the fee schedule. We do adjust our fees based on a standard index each year, and the adjustment proposed for 26-27 is 2.72%. That'll be effective July 1, 2026. So in summary, the district's proposed a sound and balanced budget for the next fiscal year that will support our continuing operations of core projects and or core operations and projects. So the recommendation today is to open and close the public hearing on the fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget and fee schedule, and then adopt a resolution approving the following. approving the fiscal year 26-27 district budget effective July 1, 2026, and then also the 26-27 fee schedule with a 2.72 CPI adjustment effective July 1, 2026. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Patty before I open the public hearing? Seeing none, we will open the public hearing. Do we have any requests to speak?
Not at this time, Chair.
Then we will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Thank you very much, Patty.
Thank you.
Next item is number 6.2, adopt the South Sacramento Florida Community Emissions Reduction Program. Janice?
Good morning, Chair Aquino and members of the board. My name is Janice Lamb-Snyder, Director of the Community Air Protection Program at the Air District. Today I'm going to be giving the last of a four-series presentation that we gave over the past few months on the Community Emission Reduction Program. So I'm just going to wait. There you go. All right. So we started this conversation back in February. We shared with the board the different types of strategies that is within the plan. And then last month in April, we came back to the board on what public comments that we've received and how we were able to make updates to the plan as well as responding to all the different questions that we may have. So with the public comments that we received and the updates, we were able to share that back with the steering committee, the South Sacramento Florida Steering Committee. And on March 23rd, the steering committee voted to approve the SERP to move to this board for action. And so today we are asking for the board to make an action on the Community Emission Reduction Program plan. And if it is approved today, we will be having a SERP celebration. You guys have a flyer on your desk for June 22nd from 6 to 8 at La Familia Maple Center. This is where we are going to be officially handing over the SERP to the CARB Executive Board. And we'll be celebrating our steering committee members as well and all the hard work that they put into this plan. And after we do that, we anticipate that CARB will be taking action on the plan in July. And once the SERP is approved, we will start the 5-year implementation process. Just a very quick update, very quick slide on what the next steps are. So we have already started some early actions from the plan, and that looks like community outreach, creating awareness with our community about air pollution, and also our supplemental environmental program with the Sacramento Tree Foundation. And once we begin implementation and the plan is approved, we will begin to implement the top priorities that you see here on the slide today, and then through the 5-year process, and then during that time, we'll be tracking progress of each of these strategies, and as funding becomes available, there will be pulling in more priorities from priorities 2 and 3 that was presented in previous presentations. With that, staff recommendation are for the board to conduct a public hearing, open and close, and to determine that the adoption of the SERP is exempt from CEQA, and to adopt a resolution adopting the plan. And before we do that, I do have a member of our steering committee, our co-lead, to give a few comments on their perspective and their thoughts on the plan. Tito Huang.
Thank you, Janice. Let me catch my breath. I fell on the step trying to catch up, trying to make it on time. Sorry. Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunities. Nice to see everybody again, Patrick. Many of you know I've been involved in the community for the last 15 years, started with Little Saigon designation, president of the Vietnamese American Community of Sacramento. The last 7 years, I'm a proud member of the AB 617 Steering Committee. And this year I came with, as a co-chair with Robert Rizzo. He's actually in Hawaii this year, right now. But it's been a long, tedious process. 53 years old man, had two kids, 9, Talia, and 6-year-old boy. And Talia was 2 years old when we started this process. She's 9 now. So I experienced this whole infant to teenager stage in the last 7 years. And Carla wasn't even born when we started this, and he's 6 years old. It's been a long 6 years for me, too. Having said that, I wanted to be able to say that, you know, we worked through all the difficulties of early stages, getting the steering committee together, did the camp, the air monitoring and all that. And 7 years later, I think our team was a lot stronger. What we did was really listening to the community, whether it was a neighborhood association, a nonprofit organization like myself, or business communities. And I think this is the best that we got under the conditions that exist in this current time. A lot of talks, a lot of passionate people, a lot of leaders in our community, in our group. And we went back and forth trying to figure out what is the best in the interest of the community. And we know that there are always going to be challenges, different ideas, different thoughts, different agendas. But I really know that our kids depends on the fact that we got to stop talking and putting things in action. And I really think this is the beginning of that stage. I think Supervisor Kennedy mentioned, and this is one of the more integrated in community-based focus steering committee that I've ever experienced, right? Because they listen to us. And we know that as much as given to us as that responsibility, much is expected of us to deliver. So I'm saying this to say, please help us get this together for the sake of Carlo and Talia and all the kids on Stockton Boulevard, Fruitridge, Florin Road. They depend on us as adults to look out for the next generation. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tito, for coming out today. Thank you for all your work. Thank you to your family for sharing you with us. And we look forward to seeing you at the SERP celebration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Vice Chair Maple has some comments.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the staff and all the hard work. Thank you to the steering committee members. And I know it can be really challenging to develop a truly community-led process. I think sometimes we attempt to do that in government often, and sometimes it feels like we're checking a box. Sometimes it feels like we tried, but we didn't quite get there. And I just want to acknowledge that I know there's a lot of different opinions. I've certainly heard some of them myself from folks who may not agree with the entirety of the plan, but that's anything. Whenever you bring a group of people together from different walks of life, different viewpoints, perspectives, you're going to have disagreement. I think what is important here is that the work was done to bring everyone together and to find consensus, and that's all we can really do and hope for. And I think what it has resulted in is an excellent plan that was driven by the steering committee, the community, and the staff really putting in the work. So I just want to appreciate that because I know it's not easy to do. And also to get continuous engagement over such a long period of time is really hard. I know that we probably experience all of that in the work that we do where we'll start something out and 50 people will show up and at the end there's 2 people because it's really hard to keep people engaged. And so I just want to applaud you for your work and please, I'm so excited to be at the La Familia Center in my district and Patrick Kennedy's district as well. My namesake, the Maple Neighborhood Center. Please come and join us. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. Director Kennedy.
Yeah, just briefly, I agree with Director Maple. Tito, thank you for your dedication. I know as a business person, as a family man, there's a lot of things you could have been doing other than going to all these meetings, and that shows your dedication to our community and the future generations. And please pass on to the other members, too, how appreciated their hard work was. It's been a long time since Larry Carr and I used to have meetings on making sure that we got the boundaries right and making sure we were addressing the right communities and the communities that needed our assistance. And I think we got there, but we couldn't get to the finish line without you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment?
Not at this time, Chair.
Okay, then we will close the public hearing. And let's see, do we need a motion here?
We do.
Move approval.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, thank you very much, Janice. We'll see you at the celebration. All right, that takes us to our discussion calendar. Item 7.1, the 2026 Legislative Priorities and Budget Update from ARC Strategies. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us today. We're delighted to be here and not at the state capitol. It's House of Origin deadline, and it's been late nights this week, and the deadline to pass bills out of their House of Origin is tomorrow. So again, thank you for allowing us to have a little break from the madhouse, I guess. So I'm Amy Brown with ARC Strategies. This is my business partner, Kim Craig. We usually do these presentations together because sometimes Kim will do one of these to make sure that I'm on point. That happens a lot. So if you see that, don't be alarmed. It happens quite a bit. Let's go to the, so by the way, we have been asked to sort of give a high-level overview on particularly the budget. And let me give you a little timeline on where we are in terms of the state budget. The legislature and the governor are negotiating right now. They have until June 15th to put a proposed budget together, and then the governor has until June 30th to sign a budget for fiscal year 26, 27. So we've been monitoring, advocating, and participating in these budget subcommittees over the course of several months, in particular as it relates to air quality management districts, and in particular at Sacramento. So let's go to the first slide, and we're going to buzz through these pretty quickly. Do we have access? Okay, Kim, you're going to have to do that.
Problem.
Yeah, we're not
the technology partner.
Yeah, no, neither am I. So we may be in trouble here. So the first slide, we just want to give you an overview. The total spending as of January 10th, and that was the governor's original January proposal, and then he issues a May revise. And the May revise is actually a mechanism where, they take in revenues and actual amounts coming in, obligations of costs and funding obligations, and then the legislature really sort of needles down on some of these issues. So, we're looking at an almost $350 billion in total spending in January. There are several reserves in place. There's $4.5 billion in the state fund for economic uncertainties. These economic uncertainties, you can guess, right? This year, it's due to some of the uncertainties with the federal government allocations. There's a $4.1 billion for public school reserves, 14.4 in rainy day fund. In January, they, estimated that the deficit was about $3 billion, but there are anticipated to be some structural deficit as we continue in the out years of at least $20 billion. I know that we had met with the Assembly Budget Chair earlier this year, who said that in future years we may be even facing a $35 or higher billion dollar deficit. So let's go to the next slide and talk briefly about, oh, thanks, Kim. You're on it. Impressive.
Yeah.
May revise, we've got a $16.5 billion in new revenues, and this is really based on the artificial intelligence bubble, right? Those were revenues that were a little unexpected, but really boosted up where we were come January. Again, continued outreach structural deficit. The Legislative Analyst Office is the nonpartisan arm, policy arm of the legislature. They're actually saying, and their job is to be, real fiscally conservative, but they're anticipating that in the out years, we could be facing up to $100 billion in a deficit. So what we're seeing now in terms of conversations in the subcommittees and the overall budget committees is that we're tightening our belts. Even though we have this surge of $16.5 billion in revenue, that doesn't mean that new programs are going to be implemented or additional allocations are going to be made, and we'll talk a little bit about that because Kim has some bad news. Some proposed revenues, we've got the software tax, like we said, no new spending, and some reductions, in particular to healthcare. So, Kim, you want me to take this over? maybe you should, maybe, which one? This one right
I
here?
already did it.
Okay.
Forwarded already. I think trying to get specifically into some programs that are very important to you all here and the work that you do, starting with the Cap and Invest program. As you know, last year, AB 617 programs were funded in the Tier 3 category. You did get a continuous appropriation commitment, which had not been previously done. But because of the auction revenues, in the Tier 3 program, the 617 programs had $177 million. The May revision reduced that downward as a result of the initial auction results and not as many proceeds. So currently standing at $131 million. You know, part of the problem that we have now and why this program is in peril, as many of you are aware, CARB today is having a hearing on the Cap and Invest program and the regulations to implement changes to that program. And one of the biggest things driving uncertainty in the market and less proceeds possibly are changes to the program that allow more allowances for the IOUs, more allowances for a program called the Manufacturing Decarbonization Incentive. So those are taking allowances out. And then because the legislature and the governor decided to do a greater climate credit, I think all of those are driving less in the pot. And so then it really puts in peril. The LAO has said that this could impact the Cap and Invest program by $2 billion. So really cutting in half. And then because of the agreements between the legislature and the governor statutorily on how you prioritize Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, it is very possible that there will be no funding in Tier 3. So while you have a continuous appropriation, which many of us thought was very important to the program, there may be no funds at all. And so I think that's why the CARB actions and then also continuing to discuss the issue in the legislature. You know, I'm not sure the Assembly is ready to move, but there are several senators in the legislature that are very upset about SB 840, which was the spending plan for Cap and Invest, and that's the GGRF, as we call it, Greenhouse Gas Reduction Funds. Many upset about the reality of what some thought could happen and not being shared with them about how they negotiated what those priorities are. So I think there is still room. We are hearing that there is still room as people start to come and say, we need to rethink about this prioritization. So that will more to come on that. But I do want to emphasize that 617 is really in peril, and there's work for us to be doing, and we've been working directly with Alberto on talking about strategy and other CAPCO and then the other air pollution control officers to think about how we deal with this issue because it is very real in real-time manner. Just some more highlights. You know, there are wildfire funds. You know, part of this combination of Cap and Invest and GGRF is the $1.25 billion that was given to CAL FIRE to buy out their general fund obligations. So I'm not sure if that's on the table this year, but in a longer term commitment, because there's out year commitments as well, I think that folks are looking to figure out what that looks like. You know, the governor also proposed $100 million in May revision for homeowners to help with their loan loss as they try to rebuild in Los Angeles. And then there's $314 million in bond funds for wildfire resiliency as part of Prop 4 allocations. And then just a little bit more on climate bonds. There's $89 million for the Climate Smart Ag program, $14 million of which is more of a regional farm equipment sharing program, not the farmer program. And then $326 million for clean air and energy, but most of that is for the public build out of transmission that goes through the IBAC. And then finally, I would just say other investments that are of interest to you, there is still $200 million for a new ZEV incentive program in relation to what the feds have done. California needs to relook at their program. It builds on the fund transfer that happened last year to the MVA account. So there's more to come on what that policy looks like. But that money is still available and still going through the budget process. So I'll turn it back over to Amy.
Okay, I'm going to handle this one. I mean, not a lot, and I'll just, kind of talk about, this influx of AI funding. Clean College for All is not directly funded as a line item in the Governor Newsom's January budget proposal. We didn't see anything in the May revise. Again, this is another example of not putting, money towards certain programs. The CC4A continues to operate on previously appropriated funds, so the program isn't not necessarily shutting down, but there's no new fusion that was included in this year's budget proposal. And then, and we're kind of going through this quickly because we wanted to make sure we have questions for you, but the next slide is one of our legislative efforts. That's okay. I think I did it right. You'd be proud. So SB 1075 is one that we've been actively working on with our partners at Capcoa and the other air districts. We're also working with a lot of local government associations, the League of California Cities being one of them. It basically requires, expands existing law by requiring CARB to establish this statewide strategy to update, be updated every 3 years rather than 5. And it requires air districts to develop, your community emissions reduction plans to be submitted to CARB. This really diverts resources and focuses away from the community level efforts that you all have been doing. So it sort of takes what you all have been doing at the local level and sort of how we see it, sort of taking it away and putting it in the hands of CARB. And really, as we're looking at it, completely, redesign or re-examine and implement some of the things that the local governments have been doing, which is really problematic. The bill passed off the Senate floor late last night and now goes over to the Assembly. I think we'll have a better chance of either significantly amending it or at this time, we're actively opposed to that measure, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to defeat this measure. And I believe that's it. So here to answer any questions. I know we breezed through that pretty quickly, but want to be able to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Director Dickinson.
Thanks, Chair. I don't so much have questions, but I wanted to speak to 2 items in particular. The first is what CARB is taking up today with respect to looking at the Cap Invest and Invest program. And perhaps it is a question. This is something that not only would affect AB 617, of course, but could zero out all the state funding through the GGRF for transit, for intercity rail, for the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities program, the kinds of things that we depend on as an underpinning to get to clean air. And so it seems to me, as you referenced, there's an opportunity potentially, if CARB takes the action of endorsing the staff's recommendation to modify that in the legislature, and particularly as you talked about the unhappiness of a number of members of the Senate with respect to this issue. But this is a crucial issue for us. And all of us across the state that want to see our air cleaned up, want to see us advance infill development, want to see us have real choices for travel modes that help us, both with congestion, by the way, as well as the environment. So if you want to expand at all on what you think the prospects are of addressing that issue to avoid the really draconian consequences that are on the horizon, that would be a question. The second thing I wanted to say just a quick word about is SB 1075. In this respect, AB 617 identified a lot of communities across the state that were eligible, but only a handful of those communities have seen the kind of effort we've made in South Sacramento, which is great, because of the availability of funding and other resources. There are those of us who want to see that program expanded to cover the areas that were left out, because they are just as much in need as the communities that were fortunate enough, to their good fortune, to be addressed. So in the conversation about SB 1075, I hope one of the elements of that exchange will be that AB 617 really has not seen its full realization by virtue of the fact that so many communities that were eligible have not been covered.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thanks.
Do you want me to tackle a little bit of the first one? Yeah. Member Dickinson, appreciate the comment. Frankly, I think there is some discussion about bringing in the CARB resolution, and is there a way for the legislature to statutorily change that? As you know, there has always been this big tug about letting CARB be the regulator, not the legislature seeming a little bit uncertain about whether they want to put things in statute and require them. So I will tell you, there is discussion about whatever happens at CARB today. Is there going to be a willingness to then say, like, you know what, in August, we have a bill that we want to see some changes, and we're going to direct CARB in statute to make those changes. So there is a possibility. I think it's our job to continue to be in those discussions on your behalf. And so just want to say there is some discussion about that possibility. How feasible that is, frankly, I'm not sure, as we look at the pot of all things happening right now that are all interconnected about funding, about GGRF. How does this all work for us? But clearly there has been there have been conversations about trying to see what we do legislatively regarding that program after CARB acts.
Well, I appreciate that comment, because there's really quite a broad coalition that has developed to oppose what is on the table at CARB, and so. If that coalition can continue to be fostered, it could create a pretty dynamic counterforce in the legislature. It may not work at CARB, but it could in the legislature, it seems to me, and potentially with the governor. So I appreciate you being in the mix and in the middle of that. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments for Amy and Kim? All right, seeing none. If you want to avoid the Capitol a little longer, you're welcome to hang out for the rest of our board meeting.
You're so nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to our APCO report.
Thank you, Chair Aquino. As the slides come up, I'll make a comment. Wholeheartedly agree with your comments, Director Dickinson, and thank you for so comprehensively capturing the concern. In full disclosure, I did have a conversation with Director Guerra, his office, yesterday, who is over there at the moment deliberating on the item. And as was mentioned, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to head over and join 6 other air pollution control officers, and we are going to provide testimony that essentially captures what you said. So thank you for bringing that up to the attention of this board. But let's see. Can you do it for me, Selena? I'm like him. I'm not sure I want to handle technology. Switching gears, I'm gonna share some really good news for you. There really is no reason for this other than the fact that when we collect ambient air quality data in the region, when we collect concentrations of pollution in the region, that data, once we collect it, has to go through several layers of review. So we do the best that we can to ensure that the data is 100% accurate, but it goes through several layers of review, including a role that our partners at the state and the federal level go through. And it is after that many layers of review that the data gets finally certified. It gets the stamp of approval and is good for sharing. That has happened for our data for 2025. It takes a while. And there's some really good news in terms of the air quality in our region that I want to share with you. Thanks to Director Maple, we're thinking, brainstorming, how do we get this word out more broadly? How do we publicize it? How do we socialize it? But before I show you the data, when I say the data for the region, it's not just Sacramento County, because recall that air quality management planning, we take the lead in the multi-county 5-air district region. So what I'm going to show you is really indicative of this broader region that you see here in the map. And the reason you have different shadings is because depending on whether we're talking about ozone pollution or particle pollution, that's where the differences in the maps apply. But more broadly, what I want you to keep in mind is what I'm going to say is indicative of what is happening in terms of improvements in air quality in this entire multi-county region. Next slide, please. All right. So the first one is probably one of our biggest challenges and headaches, and not just us in Sacramento or California, it's throughout the country and the world. I mean, ozone pollution is really the biggest thing. And here, you can see the trend over the last 25 years. And the tagline, I'm not a communications expert by any means, but I think the tagline that goes with these results is, the air in Sacramento, in the Sacramento region, has not been this clean in the last 25 years, because that's what those numbers represent. You can see that there's a trend towards lower and lower concentrations of ozone pollution in our ambient air. And that's the great news. Next slide, please. When we look at particle pollution, and here we look at daily concentrations, so these are concentrations of particle pollution average over a day, we see a similar trend. And yeah, you see some oscillations, you see some squiggly lines, there's some things that have happened in the past, but the result is the same. You can see that 2025, the last data point on the right of the graph, is the lowest that has ever been in the last 25 years. Next slide, please. And then we look at the annual average. So this is looking at an entire year and averaging the particle pollution. Again, a similar trend. You see some squiggling lines some years ago, but the end result is there's never been a lower concentration of annual average PM 2.5 pollution in Sacramento region in the last 25 years. That's remarkable, because think about 25 years. There was a lot fewer people, there was a lot fewer cars, there was a lot less driving. We were a very different region, and yet, thanks to the collective effort of 5-air districts, the residents in the multi-counties, air boards like yourselves, elected officials, obviously people making the right choice, heeding the warning about, don't drive today because spare the air is on, all of those things, including something that I'm going to segue to, which is, as you know, we fight for the dollars that come to this agency for the region, and the best way to get to this outcome is to invest in clean technology, right? It is transportation. It is our fuels. So every vehicle that we replace, every fuel that we replace with a cleaner option, this is what happens. And that's why I want to share with you. And again, we're thinking about, how do we get this more broadly, more organized? But I just couldn't pass the opportunity to share this with you guys. We're going to take a break in June, so we don't see you until July. And I'm just beyond what this means, again, for somebody who's been doing this for so long. Next slide. So speaking of technology, come out June 11, we have an event at the Capitol. This is a remarkable development that unfortunately we don't have in the U.S. yet. And obviously the reason we want to support it is because we would love to see this. What this is this is European technology because they're already using it there. This is an internal combustion engine, just like your gas car or your diesel truck. But instead of diesel or gasoline, is burning hydrogen. And that's great for us because why? If you combust hydrogen, there's no carbon emissions. There's no greenhouse gas emissions. There's no climate effect. And because this is advanced technology, it's got the latest controls, just like a modern diesel, the conventional pollution that comes out of that tailpipe is super low. So what we're going to do is we're working with our friends at UC Riverside. They happen to be the ones that are interested in this development. We're partnering with our friends at South Coast AQMD. We are going to actually be testing the vehicle around measuring the emissions, just so that we have the data to show people. We think that this is a very sensible tool in the toolbox. Yes, it's not zero emissions. Yes, it's not electric, but it's still super low relative to the alternative, gasoline and diesel. And we're going to have an event at the Capitol June 11th. Again, come out. You can get a free burrito or whatever we're going to have. But the idea is to really sensitize the legislative staffers and our legislators that, again, this is a really sensible way. This is to me, one way to move forward where you don't let the perfect be the enemy of some really good solutions, obviously being the perfect zero emissions, electric and fuel cells. Next slide. And speaking of technology, I want to acknowledge Chair Aquino, who's such a good sport. She lets us drag her around the country and the world to understand these technologies. We have a great opportunity to attend the Advanced Clean Transportation Expo. So this is basically, I mean, if you like clean tech, you're a kid in a candy store. This is basically anything and everything that has got to do with clean tech is going to be there. And we got to see some great technology, and this is where we get our crazy ideas. You know, how does this fit into a region like Sacramento? And again, I want to give Chair Aquino an opportunity to reflect on what you saw there.
Well, it's true. You do drag me around the world, and I'll say I am learning things. I texted Dr. Ayala and Jaime, I think it was last year, there was a Jeopardy question. The question had to do with hydrogen, and I got the answer right, and I was so proud of myself. I texted them. I said, I am learning in this role. Yeah, I went with them to Las Vegas to the ACT Expo. It's always interesting for me as a layperson to see kind of what technology is coming down the pipe. Autonomous big rigs are the next thing we're going to see on the road. You think Waymo is something, wait till you see an autonomous big rig driving down Highway 5. It seemed like there maybe wasn't as much there on hydrogen this year as has been in past, but always also interesting to see that, you know, there's a company that you see last year and then this year that company's gone and maybe it's been absorbed by somebody else or it's folded or whatever. So things are changing very quickly. I also want to say as a board member, I really appreciate going to these events with Dr. Ayala and Jaime and just seeing their interactions with folks in the industry. They have a lot of long-term relationships, a lot of respect, and I think we're just in really good hands with our staff. So appreciate you giving us these opportunities.
No, thank you. And to the extent that we can, we want to continue that. And obviously, the invitation is open to all of you. You're very busy, but if you're interested, I mean, the thing that I love to hear is people come up to me and say, you guys are really making things happen in Sacramento. And that, to me, is the indication that, we're moving in the right direction. Again, we couldn't do it without your support. So thank you very much. As I mentioned, we give you a break for June. This is customary, so we don't see you in July. So this concludes my APCO report. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, we do have a couple of requests to speak. Vice Chair Maple.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the report. I did find it very heartening to see some of the numbers and the data around the air quality. And I love the high line, right? It's the air is more clean now than it was 25 years ago. That's it. That's a message. And I know we talked about this on our briefing, but I want to say it here publicly as well, that I would be very supportive of an effort by you and your team to maybe hit some of the news stations, talk to some of the media outlets, SACB, whatever it may be, because I think it's an important story to tell. And I know that we often talk on this dais about how do we get the word out about what the Air District does, how can people connect better to the work that happens here and understand that we're working hard every day and that it's actually making a difference. Like, here's the data. We can see that. And so I just want to say that here and then also acknowledge that the 30th anniversary of the district is coming up soon. So perhaps there's a way to tie that all in together with a big, beautiful bow. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Dickinson.
Anniversary of the district. Thank you, Chair. I'm just chuckling over the 30th anniversary of the district coming up. Thanks for the report. I have been intrigued by the Bay Area Air Quality Management District's effort to incentivize electrification and replacement of gas-operated water heaters, and raised this the other day at the City Council meeting in the context of the city's climate action plan. The staff's response, and so I just wanted to follow up on this, was that the Bay Area Air Quality Management District is using their non-attainment status as the hook to justify what essentially Berkeley tried to do and got turned down by the court on. So we are in attainment for NOx. Is that our, but not attainment for PM 2.5 or particulates?
Well, so the best way to think about this, Director Dickinson, is we are in attainment of the ozone standard that was adopted in 2008.
Right.
And that is the most recent applicable standard because the more recent standard adopted by the federal government in 2015 is essentially up in limbo. We don't know which way this particular EPA is going to take it. But if it were in effect, then we still have a little ways to go.
So the question then is, number one, is it in fact the non-attainment status of the Bay Area that they're using as the means to get to this issue of like moving electrification, and if it is there another way that we could get there?
So I'm going to give you my take. I cannot answer what the Bay Area attainment status is. I think that would be an answer for a question for them. But it is correct, from my perspective, to think about what is needed in terms of emission reductions relative to where you are to attainment. What I have told our stakeholders in the region who approach us with the same argument, hey, the Bay Area is doing zero emission appliances, why don't you guys do it in Sacramento? My response is precisely where you're going. We're making progress. We don't need to push any harder. Because to me, what drives rules that reduce emissions should be how you are making progress towards attainment. And I just show you that we're making progress. So to me, from my perspective, there's no foundation for going beyond what we've already done. Not to say that that is not a good thing, not to say that we shouldn't do it, but again, if you go down that path, there's going to be a cost. Who's going to pay for it? How are we going to implement this? So that's really my perspective. And then on the PM side, just to complete the question, the numbers are there, but the administrative process to actually determine that we've attained, we're not there yet. So again, it gets a little wonky. I think the end result is, again, we've never seen this clean air in 25 years.
Well, maybe this is a longer discussion and an offline discussion. But I mean, what I hear you saying is that there's a distinction that you're making between getting to attainment and the measures that we should and are employing to do that, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions in order to avoid the increase in global warming that is the existential threat that we're facing. And so maybe we need to, maybe there's a conversation to be had about what is the Air District's role as we see it? Is it limited to reaching attainment, or is it a little broader necessity in the greater context? So
I love the pointedness of your inquiry, Director Dickinson, and I'm going to use it this way. I know that Director Chair Aquino and Vice Chair Maple have given us some thoughts in terms of maybe one of these months we have a workshop for you. So this is not a public meeting, but we take you away for a couple of hours and kind of do a deep dive on this, because I think that's what's going to take. Because I don't disagree with you. My beef with being very aggressive is. Now that I am a local official and I came from the state level, my beef with being super aggressive is who's going to pay for it, right? And do we really have the support in the region? Because you're asking us to go above and beyond what others should be doing. And let me just complement my point by this. The rollbacks that we have seen from the federal EPA in terms of all the vehicle emission standards or truck emission standards, they have resulted in emission reductions that are foregone, that are almost 4 or 5 times the entire output of the state of California in terms of all the vehicle driving. So is that concerning for climate? Absolutely. Should we be spending the time focusing on appliances, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of that inventory, or actually thinking about a better strategy? So I apologize for the long-winded answer, but we are getting into some philosophical considerations about how we should use the power of this body to drive some of the interests that people like you and city councils have. And again, our role is to do it in a way that is sensible without imposing undue burden, meaning cost and other challenges, specifically to our residents. And I would love the opportunity, and if we have your support, I mean, we can contemplate doing something like that for those of you that are interested.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, I'm not saying that the district should do it. I'm just asking if it's something that we could do, given what the Bay Area district is doing. But all those things you mentioned are relevant factors. What's the impact relative to other measures? What's the cost? All of those things are part of the conversation from my point of view. It's not predetermined. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Lopez-Taff.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just want to thank you, Director Ayala, for your very sober-minded response. I think it's very even and very appropriate what you just said there for us to be mindful of our position and our constituents, because that's what we have to do on this dais every day. So I just want to send some appreciation your way.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayala. That takes us to item 9, board ideas, comments, and AB 1234 reports. Anyone have anything to share? Okay, Selena, that takes us to item 10, public comment. Do we have any requests to speak? All right, then we will adjourn at 9:51. Thank you, everyone.
Very efficient.